I'm a little late on all these videos, trying to keep up with them. It's 1:15 a.m. This is our second to last day here, but this is a video back from July 31st. We are heading to the Aran Islands and we finally hit bad weather. Cold, rainy, miserable, which the Aran Islands I think would be beautiful, but I don't think too many of us are going to have a fond memory of it. We were taking our ferry ride and panning through a little bit. You'll see Kevin coming up here, sitting next to two young boys, not part of our group. He's sleeping, might be snoring into their ears. I'm sure they enjoyed that ferry ride into the islands. But we're heading out to the biggest island. I believe it's maybe called Innismore or Ennismore. And we're going to go see a fort, an ancient fort called Dangus or Donangus. Anyways, the trek up was miserable. We had to walk up a very, very high incline, rocky. Rain was coming down wet. You'll see a lot of people in ponchos. But this is showing the fort. It's built onto the cliffs overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. And it's a lot more dangerous than the Cliffs of Moher because they don't have any barriers. So they warned us not to get too close. So I stayed back a little bit. Those rocks can be really slippery. What we did is we laid on our stomachs to try and see over the cliffs into the rocks or into the ocean. You'll see some people in green coming up here. That's part of our tour group in the background finally making it up. There were about half of us that did walk up and half that just stayed back or turned back because it was really a miserable day. But once you got up there, it was just breathtaking views. There's my sister Kathleen and Patty waving off in the distance. There was a part that you could climb up a little bit higher, and that's what you'll see us up on the higher part up here now that you could overlook. There's George and Lori. And then after the Danangus, we took a quick bus ride, and that's called Seven Churches. It's a ruin. There's actually not seven churches, but it was named that for the seven buildings. And the buildings were used as churches, monasteries over time, schools. People like St. Columcille came there and studied there. Some other saints were there. We went through some of the graveyards or the stones that were there for the graveyard. Just a quick little stop of some ancient ruins. After that, we had some lunch, some time to relax and shop before we went back to the ferry. The Aran Islands are one of the few places that people speak mainly Gaelic. And because this was the larger island, it's also set up more touristy. The other islands are much smaller. Some people in our group had been to some of the other islands, and really there was only one building or one pub and very few people. But on this one, I think they said, inhabiting the whole island might have been 1,000, and that might be stretching it. It's a lot of rock in the whole area. People would set up rocks around their piece of land to section off the land that they were going to be staying in. Then we headed back on our ferry and started working our way towards Bunratty Castle. So as you see here, this is part of the land of Bunratty Castle, and we are going to be going into a kind of a Renaissance type banquet that we're going to be eating and entertained just like they would back when the castle maybe was still going on. See us walking in. We do a little group picture tonight, so we put on some green shirts that the Doyles had made for us, took a picture, and you'll see the castle in the background there. And then they entertained us with some music at the beginning. I'll let you listen in as we drink our honey wine. Here's Patty and Marie entertaining us with some period piece dancing. And then they had to crown a king and a queen, and you might recognize who they chose.
Oh, king and queen.
Thanks, your lady. I crown you Earl of Thomond, and I beseech you to take your rightful place and rule over our banquet here. Long live the Earl, lady. My noble guests, your places at banquet are all pre-allocated, so rest assured you shall be seated with your respective fans. Now let us follow the Earl.
So we followed the king and queen into the banquet hall and treated to a delicious dinner, but had to eat it all with our hands. They did give us a knife to act as a dagger, so there's the men chewing on some ribs. And then the king and queen off in the distance over there have to make sure that the dessert is appropriately flavored for everybody. As everybody watches on, they feed each other the first bite and then approve of the meal. Throughout the meal, they did different things. They made After our banquet, we headed to a bar as a group to say goodbye to our driver, Noel Hart.
Yeah.
And remember, if we get to the States.
Yeah, no, I'm going down south. I'm not going up north. Down south. Yeah, but see, I'll be heading for Iowa. Wow.
Our next stop was Dirty Nellies to gather up the group.
Oh, sing us a song, you're the piano man. Oh, sing us a song tonight. 'Cause we're all in the mood for a melody, and you got us feeling alright. Well, Paul is a real estate novelist who never had time for a wife. But he's talking to me.
Tonight ended up being a big sing-along night. We headed to Kathleen's bar at our hotel and found this guy that wanted to sing.
I went into an ale house I used to frequent. I told the landlady me money's all spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Custom like yours I could have any day, and it's no, nay, never.
So the guy took a liking to Lori McGargle, so you'll see him coming up dancing with her and to the song That's Amore, but we changed it to That's Allure.
And the world seems to shine.
That's Allure. That's Allure.
Okay, that's the end of this night. Another great day.